The Golden Globe nominations were last week, and I have some quick thoughts. September 5 and Nickel Boys getting in only drama is kinda crazy. Sing Sing got railed. We're severely missing some spice. I like Amelia Perez, and even I think it's overperforming right now. But my favorite nomination from the Golden Globes is absolutely Payal Kapadia for Best Director. I finally got to see her film All We Imagine Is Light. So let's finally talk about it. Welcome to the channel, all you lights of my life.
Life, death, life, death, life, death, life, death, life, death.
Patrick!
Sorry.
All We Imagine Is Light is written and directed by Payal Kapadia. We follow 3 hospital workers working in Mumbai. Prabha is a married nurse with her estranged husband living in Germany, and as a result, she experiences profound loneliness. Anu is Prabha's roommate, and she is a young spirit who is head over heels with a boy she knows her family won't approve of. Parvati is a widowed cook from the hospital facing eviction after contractors buy the land to build a high-rise. All 3 women experience what it's like to live in India's patriarchal society while yearning for personal liberation. France and India had the option of choosing this movie for their best international feature submission to the Oscars, and neither of them chose to do so. France chose Amelia Perez, and India chose La Pata Ladies.
I like you, have a cupcake. I like you, have a cupcake.
Both are on Netflix. I haven't seen the latter yet. So here we are with All We Imagine Is Light in a similar position to last year's Anatomy of a Fall. It's doing well in the award circuit right now based on its own merit, and it's not being uplifted with a country's awards campaign. We love an underdog story, and this movie is absolutely one to root for. This movie is almost dreamlike and ethereal. What helps hone in on this quality is the cinematography and the lighting. So much of All We Imagine As Light is lit minimally, casting shadows and darkness while we are in Mumbai. Street lamps, storefronts, car headlights, phone glow, and flashlights. Those are your main light sources in the movie because the sun refuses to shine. It's endlessly rainy and gloomy in the city. You compare this to later in the film when we visit the coast, and all of a sudden there's light, there's hope, there's freedom. The score also helps with the immersion. It's almost as if I was lifted out of my theater seat and I was floating and observing like a ghost over all these women's lives. For me, what also helped, because I know some people are going to be turned off by this, is a lack of a fully realized story, and instead there's a trigger event that causes each person's own journey and an event that causes its conclusion. The rest of the story folds very naturally. Walking in these women's shoes gave me a strong emotional connection and a deeper appreciation for their stories. I truly feel Prabha, played by Kani Kasrudi, as a woman feeling constrained by loneliness as she's forced to confront her absentee husband and his empty gesture of gifting a modern rice cooker from Germany while she is back in Mumbai working long hours at the hospital and constantly sopping up rainwater. Through the movie, Prabha deals with this longing for her husband who has left for Germany not long after their arranged marriage. She barely knows the guy.
I don't know you!
But she also faces the reality of losing a lot of the connections around her. Her friend from the hospital that cooks, the doctor who is showing interest in her, and her increasingly absent young roommate. This marital connection weighs heavy on Prabha, caught between her wants and freedoms and the social norm of India of being loyal to your husband. Remember how I said lighting choices can come from phones? Prabha is using her phone flashlight facing away. It's never shown on her. She uses it as she's searching for things, and she's reading, and she's gaining knowledge, finding answers. She's made other people and other things the focus, even though she's working through her own struggles. It's admirable, and it reflects her occupation as a nurse, showing her concern and caring nature for others over herself. I'm not going to spoil it, but there is a big turning point at the end of the movie where Prabha has the spotlight on her for once, and she can finally finish her arc and come to terms with her current role in society. The second woman, Anu, is played by Divya Prava, a younger, carefree hospital worker that rooms with Prabha. Anu is currently dating a Muslim man named Shiaz, which makes the rounds around the hospital, and it's kind of frowned upon. As this relationship blossoms and they want to start becoming intimate with each other, Anu's parents in her home village are trying to organize her marriage. They're sending her photos, and she and Shiaz are making fun of that. There's so much that a character like Anu can bounce off a character like Prabha. Like right away, you notice that instead of having her phone light flashlight facing away from her like Prabha, Anu's face is aglow as she's texting Shiaz. Throughout the film, their texts and notifications are displayed on screen. As someone not yet facing the social bind of marriage, she chooses to live in the light instead of looking ahead at a future that is being orchestrated for her. You can boil that down to, oh, she's a teenager in the 21st century. She's going against the norm. She's always on her phone. She's not looking at real life.
Teenagers! Tell me about it.
But the people that she's interacting with on a daily basis are older than her and well established in their lifestyle. She's already working in a hospital. It's not like her future is not on her forefront. There's a scene with Prabha and Anu, and there's a dispute about how Anna is presenting herself, very much casting a shadow of how society looks at young women and the roles they need to assume. And there's another scene where a bunch of younger girls are in training at the hospital. They're passing around a placenta from a recent birth, and they're all disgusted except for Anu. She knows the place in society that she's expected to take up as a caregiver, mother, and wife. But that's not her current wishes, or at least she doesn't want it to be orchestrated by others. She wants to manifest and set that path for herself. The scene that she shines the least in is the one where she's not being authentic to herself. She tries to disguise herself as a Muslim with a burqa in an attempt to meet Shiaz on his side of town, and unfortunately those plans fall, but she shines the brightest later in the movie in a different setting, not surrounded by the city or judgment. And finally, there is Parvati, played by Chaya Kadam. She is the hospital cook who is recently widowed. Her home is bought out by developers looking to level the land and rebuild a high-rise. She is unable to produce the paperwork for proof of ownership in order to stop all of this. Her husband had the paperwork, and now that he's gone, we have no idea where it is. Parvati has found herself in a situation where she is no longer bound by the ties of marriage, but after however many years of marriage, she has these newfound freedoms and responsibilities that she doesn't really know what to do with yet.
Now what?
She has the opportunity to start anew. You see Parvati go to a assembly surrounding the policies about her home and how unjust it is. It's something that I'm sure she wouldn't be able to do while her husband was still around. And she tries one restaurant that she's always passed by but never eaten at. Prabha is with Parvati through all of these events where she's learning to live in the light again. However, when Parvati decides to return to her home village, that's when all three women find all the answers that they're looking for. I won't go into full details about this portion for spoiler reasons, but there are a couple scenes that do stick out. One scene is when Parvati and Anu are dancing, but Prabha is looking on. Both Parvati and Anu are choosing in this moment to live in the light while Prabha is still on the fence. The other scene is one where Parvati is going into the ocean. Prabha is looking at Parvati from the shore, and Anu is elsewhere, doing whatever Anu does. You see all the moments that each woman chooses to live their life in their own light, and when they choose to let that light go dim. It's all very, very interesting to see unfold on screen. This movie is beautiful. It displays all three of these women's dynamics and relationships with each other and their relationship to the patriarchal society wonderfully. This movie is just under 2 hours, and yet it feels like I've lived with them for months. It's a slice of life movie, and yet very introspective about life as a whole. You feel like you really get to know these women's life in Mumbai. How you go from living in your small village to a city, but sometimes the expectations set for you are very hard to escape. How you need to remove yourself from your distractions to find what you're looking for. How you should pilot your own life, break the mold. I am so touched by this work. This is written and directed by a woman that I'm sure has had to face and wrestle these issues and feelings. Payal Kapadia's directing nomination at the Golden Globes is a based pick. I'm hoping she gains the momentum to find her way into the Oscars race somehow. This is her work and her aspirations, and I'm here for Payal Kapadia. I'm hoping all of you will support this movie. Go watch it in theaters if it's near you, and find a way to live in your own light. All We Imagine is Light, I am giving 4.5 out of 5 stars. Thank you for watching. My name is Kyle, and I'm still learning to fall in love with the medium of cinema. And if you'd like to join me in that journey, you should hit subscribe, hit the notification bell, and follow me on Letterboxd. It is award season, y'all. It is busy. I'm sorry this took a while to get out. Comment below your thoughts on All We Imagine is Light. Did France and India make a mistake for not choosing this movie to represent them at the Oscars? Do you have a favorite international feature film from this year? Don't forget to like the video. Until next time, that's a wrap.